Muscle Car Connection. Thanks for stopping by. I just interviewed Mike Ring of Mike and Jim Ring Brothers, the builders of Recoil, this 1966 Chevelle. Incredible build. Check it out. Please thumbs up. Thanks for watching.
And there behind me is the GM Performance shirt. It's got the new Corvette on the back. It says GM Performance on the front. It's an extra large. So here's the contest for Muscle Car Connection and this Ring Brothers Recoil build. Tell me what your favorite Chevelle is. What year and why. Could be the design, could be the available power plants, because they came with everything from 6 cylinders all the way on up. You know, a lot of big block cars. Is it an SS? Just, you know, tell me what and why. Is it a convertible? Is it the, you know, coupe? Is it a 4-door? Who knows? Maybe it's even a Chevelle wagon, for God's sakes. So tell me what it is. Post your comment down below, and I'll tell you what. Whoever, you know, posts a comment, I will put your name in a hat, and I'll have a drawing in a week. So you have to be subscribed to Muscle Car Connection. Thumbs up, and thanks for watching.
All right, let me get the front of Recoil with Mike here, and I mean, where to start? Again, I don't even know where to start. I'll just let Mike roll with it, because
well, you know, we wanted a grill grill's a hard thing for us to change. We always want it to look recognizable what year, so we try not to mess with that part. But we did build a bumper from scratch, which then changes the grill, because there's normally a molding underneath and the trim actually comes around. But since we made the bumper, we whacked off the front of the fenders and made the bumper really make the wheel opening. Normally the bumpers only come to about here, and then the fender kind of fills in.
Right.
So we whacked that off and made the bumper create the whole finished look, which allowed us to make it a little deeper, bring in again the paint.
Let me ask you, as I'm not familiar, what the process for doing the bumper? Let's say, do you take the stock bumper and then kind of make a mold to get a general idea?
Well, we do on some, but this one we just started over.
Really?
It's just easier to just build it.
So just from scratch, and you just kind of mock it up. So how do you mock it initially? What do you use?
Do it out of cardboard. This was very quickly welded. I mean, spot welded up pieces, and then mudded over. You know, you can use cardboard, you can use paper, you can use anything. It's only to get a plug.
And then the little splitter in front, is that carbon, or is that?
Yeah, that's also, the whole bumper is carbon, but we just painted it out in different ways.
I got you. So this part's polished.
So it's one piece carbon.
This is all one piece then? This whole...
all that's one piece.
And then again, it's got the toe, that really trick toe thing in front, so you don't have to worry where you hook it up.
And if you look underneath, it's got an oil cooler intake.
You said it's dry sump, right?
Yeah, it's a dry sump. But you see our oil cooler intake right here.
He's not the best in low light. I don't want to touch the car.
No
the car's really low. Look at this. Look at the, yeah, right there. Look at that intake. So sick. So beautiful. And some of this stuff in here. Now let's talk about the power plant, because this again is a work of art. It is an LS7, but this isn't any LS7.
With RHS heads and block, dry sumped. Wagner, who's a local guy who to us is the best LS builder in the world.
What type of supercharger is that?
That's a Whipple.
Is it really?
It's a Whipple.
It's so big. It seems so wide.
It's so big is because I made these panels out of carbon to make the supercharger look bigger.
Okay.
But it's only the single supercharger. It's not even their big one. But then I made panels that I made molds so I can duplicate this again. But they're just, I made it out of wax. And,
so normally there'd be an engine cover on a supercharged, let's say late model Vet or something that goes up to there.
And normally here you'd see the carbon shaft, or you'd see the shaft. All I did is make it look like the supercharger. I just thought I needed it, and hence when we built this, we originally were just going to have it shut down and see. But there was too much of the K&N filter showing. It looked a little bit goofy.
So that actually is the cold air intake right here.
Yes, and
it's functional.
Yes, and when we shut the hood, you can see the hamburger grill, if you want, will protrude through the hood.
So it's reminiscent of the GM kind of hoods from the late 60s, 69, 70 Camaros and Chevelles.
Right. Well, actually, it's kind of like the Chevelle bump. And kind of with a little bit of the cowl, but
A lot more of the functionality.
More of the function.
Yeah.
Again, the weave, the master cylinder reservoirs.
So this is the master cylinder reservoir up here.
Clutch reservoir.
Clutch, hydraulic clutch. So it's a 6-speed?
6-speed. And this is the intercooler. That's the dry sump tank. The fan for the intercooler.
And then carbon fiber inner fender
wheel
wells.
tubs. And what's funny is these are the bad side of the carbon. The real side of the carbon is the inside. All I did is sand them down, and that's why they're so spotty. Is because it's the inside of the carbon. But I just sanded the hell out of them and cleared them. So that's why they're so pieced. But I kind of like that.
It looks great. Kind of gives it an industrial look a little bit.
Exactly,
Yeah.
without being so pure and
Well, this is a
perfect.
1,000 horsepower motor.
Yeah, 1,000 horsepower. Probably capable of more of like 1150 if you wanted to push it, but pump gas motor.
And there's
actually
no
980.
traction control.
No traction control. It seriously, you still can't man it at 80. And you don't want to ride with my brother because he drives like shit.
So it's 416 cubic inch. That's the.
The mirrors we made from scratch. Just bent some aluminum around, and this was actually a 13 Mustang cover. You know, they do them real cheap carbon covers on the 13 Mustangs. And we actually made a mirror, made a bezel around it, and used that.
It looks great though.
Yeah.
What's this?
It's like it's not a GoPro, but it's another type of camera like a GoPro.
It was permanently mounted. That's pretty neat. And then just kind of a little cluster there.
Very, race pack. We took a race pack and then built the blinkers are up in here.
You know what's interesting, dare I say that the interior kind of has a steampunk look to it a little bit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I haven't heard that before, but yeah.
It's very
simple.
industrial, but again,
Simplistic.
very simplistic, but the amount of thought and energy and detail in every single nut, bolt, rivet, screw.
Yeah, there's more screws than stitches in this interior.
And it has even the rear view mirror. Of
Yeah.
course, that's not stock. That's some really funky, cool.
That's a cup car, but we made a bracket, and even the shifter boot is just a CD axle. Just very simple,
But again, repurposed. For those of you out there that like to see things repurposed, and then. It goes without saying the fit and finish and the paint, the color is really unique because, again, it kind of fits with that industrial theme.
He didn't want it to be about paint. He wanted to be about what we did. And I remember when we first painted it, obviously before you put any carbon or anything, everybody in the shop, people would come in and go, who picked that color? And that's not a good thing when they're asking who picked the color. But it was a color, I don't even know if you're going to get it here, but it's a color that, to me, has some green in it. It's kind of militant looking and kind of
a sandy, grayish color.
Right.
And if you didn't know better, it's like a military color, really, right?
Yeah,
kind of fitting with that industrial theme.
We call it a sandstorm,
Yeah, I can see why. And one of their big sponsors, let's make mention, BASF. They use BASF paints. In fact, they're almost always in the BASF booth at SEMA. So, and again, can I just ask you one last thing on this back window? Sure. Again, this is a flush fit window.
No worries.
If you want to speak a little bit, just even like, how you get the fit and finish on something like that. So
on the back window?
Yeah, I mean, that's not stock.
No, the back window's usually got some trim on it, and we just, some cars we like to take the trim off, and others we don't, and this one is what we really wanted to do, so we keep fitting it, we bring the metal into the window, and use Chrysler molding to fit it. And then we kind of just put a little blackout around it, and I don't know how to explain it any more than we just wanted to modernize the window fitment of it. And,
all right, Mike.
We're just lucky we had an owner like Chris McPhee to do it for us.
I don't know, man. I tell you. Mike.
We did it round. What we did is actually took PVC pipe and split it, But we didn't want to just have a round thing so it looked grippy. We actually put a ridge in it so it comes off the hinge of the handle. So it just gives it a different look.
Gives it a real...
Yeah. And these are window openers, which are actually our brake reservoirs.
That you repurposed.
That we repurpose. We do that a lot.
So is that aluminum, that piece?
Yeah, it's just billet aluminum that we painted. Made a little holder, put a switch behind it, and that's our power windows.
So let me ask you this: is this there's speaker components under
No.
here? So that's just a textured
just
look.
Cosmetic,
Yeah.
textured look. At Steve, what it was is, you know, these cars evolve. Originally, it was Steve, our interior guy, made a foam insert like this, and it was all wrapped in leather, a green leather that we thought was going to look super bitchin'. Hated it. So what we did is took what he did and then just beat screen over it, just regular perforated metal, and beat it over it and made that texture.
So this is the thing that and I was kind of gushing all over how great Mike and Jim's builds are, but we're literally just talking about one door panel, and then we could go on for. I mean, I could steal this guy's time all night. This is one door panel. Look at this. These all have Torx heads on. Those Torx heads in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. All these Torx head screws, it's really
like,
clean.
It's clean, you know, the car is simple. I mean, he wanted metal seats, we just did it.
Yeah, can we talk about the seats? Let's check those out.
Yeah, they're...
I'll do my best with the lighting, as I don't have any fancy lighting gear, but...
What we did is, I mean, and it's not just Jim and I. We got guys at the shop that are awesome. And Sean did these, the guy at the shop. We took a Recaro seat that we always use in our cars, set it up and measured. Okay, where are the bolsters at? Where does everything hit you at? Took measurements, bent the tubing, made the flat metal, and then we water transferred everything. All the floors, everything's aluminum panels that we just water transferred.
You know, that stuff's pretty trick. I've seen that. So you have a big,
cool.
it's a tub that actually
we didn't
puts...
do it. We
had it
actually
done?
drove one of our guys, had him drive down to Missouri and had it done. It's just like a killer.
It's very durable, right?
It's very, well, it's basically floating ink, and once it's covered, you clear it with matte clear, so it's as durable as your clear is.
It's really neat looking. It gives it kind of a...
Like, what is that look?
Yeah, what is that? You know, if you didn't know better, it's like someone took tweed
Right,
and 3D'd it.
That's exactly
and 3D
what we
printed
wanted.
it. Yeah,
that's exactly what we wanted, to give it to, even like these, when we had Steve do it, we argued about, okay, where are we going to put the stitch? Well, we were going to put them here, you know, so they're, you know, on top, but it's like, well, then if they're off a little bit, somebody'd say they're crooked or they don't look straight. So we intentionally made them look off-centered so that it looked like we wanted it to be like crooked. Most people probably would have put it up here or down below, but we wanted to intentionally make it,
well, the stitch actually runs the same, you know, it's in the same angle. So, I mean, I think it really is pleasing to the eye that way, so.
But I mean, even Steve, the way he did it, he doubled up the leather, we cut the thing back so that there's no sag or bag on the end of the thing.
It's
just little things like that. These were just milled aluminum pieces. Once we milled them, Sean then bent them and then added TIG down the side pieces.
So if you didn't know better, if I step up, yeah, it looks like a rubber mat.
Right, that's the intention, rubber mat. Or somebody else looks at it and says, man, they had a chunk of aluminum that thick and they milled it? No, that wasn't what we did. We actually took flat, milled it, then bent it, then added the sides.
So what was the name behind Recoil? Who names the cars? Do you guys name them, or does the owner name them?
Jim actually named this. He's into guns, and there's actually a magazine I think called Recoil. I don't know, but my brother's into guns, and
well, with 1,000 horsepower, I probably feel like you're getting shot out of a gun, right?
I've only had one ride in the car, and I don't want another one because my brother drives like shit.
He's nuts.
Yeah. All the other cars we've ever built, they're pretty fast, but Jim's like, oh, I can use a little more. This one, honestly, he starts shaking before he gets in.
It's scary.
Yeah, 80 miles an hour, still blow the tires right off.
Wow.
You can't drive it like a light switch. You have to.
You really got to pay attention.
Like, I don't know if you noticed, we made full carbon headliner, full carbon dash, A pillars, B pillars, it's all carbon. took a race pack, made a gauge cluster for it.
I'm gonna hop on the other side too, if that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll kind of go through that. It's rear seat delete, but they've
Yeah, with the subs below it, because we really didn't want to show stereo, and that's why we blacked it out up front.
trying to be really careful with the
Yeah,
camera
the
here.
steering wheel we made out of some of our hood hinges, like you said, repurposed. So, you know, HRE is a great sponsor. They built these wheels that Jim had an idea for with the ring. So we wanted to show a little love to our sponsors.
So HRE does all the wheels for these guys. They're all custom one-offs for every build.
But now they're available to the general public.
And what size are these?
These are 20 by 13s. With a 345, 30, 20 on it.
So I know I can't really get this camera angle in here, but I guess I can. So Mike was just explaining how they have done some, well, it's not going to focus, but I'll explain it to you, or I'll let him explain it to you. But basically, this lip is down 3/8 of an inch.
Actually, it's up 3/8 of an inch,
excuse me.
because they on a normal one they actually start heading downhill. And once we stuffed that big tire under there, it was like, man, something looks wrong. And I didn't really notice it until I was across the shop. So we just slid it, moved it up, and really made a big difference.
So that, and then look at the exhaust. This is unbelievable what they've done here. So when we were talking, you know, again off camera, because I have billions of questions and I notice all these fine details, but they've split the rear quarter here so they had access to properly, and it just makes for a really cool body line.
Yeah, it makes for a body line that lines up with the other body line. Plus, it's a separate piece, easy to make out of aluminum. And this was a flat piece of aluminum that Sean welded another piece on and grounded, and then we powder coated it to go with the floor. The back end is all a one-piece back end instead of multi-piece like on a regular 66. We took Camaro taillights, but we busted we just busted off the lenses and used only the bucket on it, and then machined the loops, the horseshoe pieces.
And then this is all hydro coated in here as well.
Same thing. All aluminum panels that were dipped.
But what you're looking at, truthfully, is if I won the lotto,
Yeah, or I won the lotto.
I think I'd have to call these guys up before they're retired and get something built, because this thing is ridiculous. Like all their cars are just, you know, for the car lovers out there, which I know everyone watching is, I mean, look at this carbon fiber bumper.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a new carbon they came out with, but it's
like a different mesh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a different mesh. It's actually copper wire in it that's weaved into the carbon that's coated in a silver plating. So
It just really pops, yeah.
If you look real close, though, you can see where I sanded through, and you can see the copper. Obviously, I didn't intend to do it.
Very
You'll
hard
see
to
that
see.
it turns copper color.
And then these little slits are just basically for visual eyeball.
Visual goes with the belly pan. If you look underneath, with our tie downs in our belly pan, to bring the air out of it, because it actually is open underneath. So we wanted the air to come out instead of just get tangled up.
Now, do you guys run air ride systems on this one?
No, this is at ride height. QA1 shocks. Good things. Again, our sponsors that are amazing.
So this is all carbon too then. Do you have
Yeah.
a carbon guys you use, or you use?
Yeah, we use Gemini. They're out of Maguanago area in Wisconsin. Just guys we've been using forever that are amazing. So we'll build the plug, they'll build the part.
So the reason I'm got this on the spoiler so long, or this little rear spoiler, look at that. That's what the third brake light is. How cool is that? The third brake light, and I'm telling you, again, the craftsmanship is just seamless, and again, this type of
Yeah,
aluminum.
just a little thing that it really doesn't. It's actually bolted. You can see through here. Actually, underneath the snubber that we did is what holds it on. But we thought it needed a little bit of attachment. And we use an old Cadillac
latch.
latch because it really sucks it down and works pretty slick. can see it pulls it down. The reason we have to do that is because the gaps are so tight. If you slam the trunk, it would actually have chipped the trunk plate or the edge.
How many times before you paint it? How many times is it put together and taken apart? Too many times to count. Yeah.
Maybe 10, 20. I mean, it's on and off and on.
Is the first part of the mock-up getting the body squared away, or is it really because you got so much form and function that fit together? Are you having to kind of mock them together, like you set the engine in and...
Well, you know, every time you put it on a frame, it changes. Every time it gets re-bolted, the door gaps change, which then changes the hood.
You're tightening something or moving something, yeah, everything has to be adjusted.
You really got to remember every time you put one together that you have to tighten it almost the same way. But then you got to compensate for primer and paint. Because once you prime and paint a hinge, and you prime and paint that door, it moves it back.
Or powder coated or whatever, you know, put some kind of finish on it.
It tightens the gap on the back end of the door. So you almost have to compensate for the amount of paint on the door and on the hinge when they go together. When you first mock that up, you have to compensate for the layers of paint and primer that move that door back. So I think it's just time that you realize how much you have to do with that.
Much appreciated, and I hope you enjoy this channel, and make sure and visit me, of course, on Mustang Connection. But thanks for stopping by. I will run this contest for 1 week from the day I post it, and I'll make the announcement next week sometime. So thumbs up. Thanks again for watching. See y'all soon.